Ever wonder how the bank knows it's you buying cat food at 3 a.m., but flag that designer purchase in Paris? That's thanks to behavioral analytics, where your digital habits are the new fingerprints. This is Intellectual Point. We get you high earning careers in tech. In cybersecurity, it's not just about what you know, like your passwords, but how you act online. Because while hackers can steal credentials, they can't perfectly mimic your quirky browsing habits. It's like trying to impersonate grandma. You might get the password right, but you'll never replicate her unique way of accidentally opening 17 browser tabs. Picture this. John from accounting logs in from New York, then 10 minutes later from Beijing. Unless John is secretly Superman, behavioral analytics flags this faster than you can say ni hao. Who's behind this digital detective work? Security analysts, the Sherlocks of cyberspace, tracking unusual shenanigans. IAM specialists, the bouncers of the digital world, implementing behavior-based authentication. Threat hunters, the cyber bloodhounds, sniffing out deviations from normal behavior. And for more, we turn to Richard Parker, an Intellectual Point instructor.
So we want to explore things that we see that are not right. They're abnormal. They're out of place. If I have a user and that account is, I see stuff happening in the middle of the night, right? So, Sue, been here a long time. I see that Sue is at 3 a.m. There's a whole bunch of data leaving the network. Well, I know that's not Sue. She's at home. So her machine's clearly been compromised. If I see things like a user account made for a desktop and somehow it's authenticated on a server, probably shouldn't be happening, okay? New user account creation on local computers, new accounts that were created without me doing it. They just appeared. User accounts that are added to groups unexpectedly or added by an unauthorized individual. How did that happen? That's not normal activity and I didn't do it. Again, bad guy. So other things like communication between a device and a remote host, like every 2 minutes. That's called beaconing, okay? It's literally, it could be transferring data or it could just be like calling home, right? Testing the waters every couple of minutes. Another way to think about that, if you were thinking about routers and hot standby router protocol, between those two routers, there's this thing called a heartbeat message. And it's like every 10 seconds. Well, here, basically, it's beaconing. It's basically calling home and waiting on that connection. So if I see abnormal protocols being used, like especially DNS traffic, right? I want to pay attention. Ping requests that don't receive a response or have unusual sizes. Now, typically the common MTU or maximum transmission unit for any frame at layer 2 is 1,500 bytes. That's a normal frame. And we do have a concept of jumbo frames, different animal, typically used like with a storage area network and a high-speed fiber backbone that's 40 gig or better, right? So we can use bigger frames, but you would not use those across the internet or on your normal network, like from desktops to the server and that type of thing. So when we have these unusual packet sizes, we can pay attention to what is that? Why is that? Other abnormal behavior patterns like communication with a known malicious IP address or domain. We have evidence that, certain traffic on certain ports that are associated with certain command and control servers, i.e. we can go back like port 8181, okay? Any encoded communication. Ooh, now we're doing it like URL encoding, different types of things where they're using encoding so you don't really know what that is, okay? It's not necessarily encrypted, but it is encoding using like ASCII or Unicode or, a different type of encoding. So a user, if you think about users receive an email with a suspicious link, once they visit the site, I typically drive by. This is very typical for like drive-by downloads. They either go find some website and catch you there, or they send you an email pretending to be something else. And when you click on the link, it's going to take you where they want to go. And it may pop up and all of a sudden, you have a virus, you have a virus, you have a virus, right? Type of thing. And that's very typical. Now, when we have like endpoint detection and response, we will be enabling user and entity behavior analytics. So we're basically monitoring that individual device and what is normal for Joe at work. What does he do every day? What does that look like? We have a record of that, right? What does his normal bandwidth traffic look like? What applications is he using? And so that's normal behavior for Joe. Well, when something is out of that normal behavior, it tracks that. And then, of course, machine learning and AI kick in. All of a sudden, there's this huge spike in Joe's traffic, and AI goes, yeah, no, I don't think so. Boom, shut that down. And that's, what it's doing and why it's doing. And other things too, right? So we're talking about email. I see that Joe's email is all of a sudden blasting out 2,000 emails a day in some type of email campaign. But yeah, Joe, that's not Joe, okay? So I want to look at what's happening.
Ready to become a digital behavior expert and spot hidden threats? Dive into our CySA course, because in this game, knowing the difference between a cat video binge and a cat burglar could save your company millions. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like and subscribe to Intellectual Point.